Now, the enactment of the 2022 Children's Act spelt a new dawn for thousands of children in various orphanages across the country. The law recommended placing children without families in alternative care to curb the abuse and trafficking of children. Now, the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has started plans to reintegrate these children with their families, even as critics fault the government for rushing to close children's homes without first addressing the fundamental reasons why these children ended up in the orphanages in the first place. Well, our reporter Mary Morki accompanied the Child Welfare Society of Kenya on a reintegration trip and tells us more about the exercise.
The smile of hope and expectation, albeit with a little anxiety. Parents and guardians wait anxiously for their children to disembark from this van, and when the doors finally slide open, tears and laughter flow freely as these children, who have lived in various children homes in Nairobi for periods ranging from 2 to 5 years, finally reunite with their parents and guardians. Rosa Cheng is among the parents reuniting with their children. Although she is happy to see her child, she is worried about how she will take care of her. She says she allowed her daughter to be registered in a children's home because she could not afford to take care of the basic needs, including shelter, food and education. Now that her daughter has been brought back home by the government through the Child Welfare Society, she cannot quite figure things out.
Tulikuwa tumeambiwa kuna msaada ya watoto kwenda kusaidika ili wapate elimu. Mimi nikaona singeweza mwenyewe kushughulika na watoto wote. Hata nilisikia kuna msaada kule, nikapeana watoto. Wenye wamesema watoto wako wanakuja, mimi sina mbele wala nyuma na hakuna mwenye ananisaidia.
The decision to bring back Rose's daughter has been informed by the government's decision to phase out children's homes and reintegrate the children with their families. Rose and thousands of other families do not necessarily agree with the policy directive. Opponents argue that if children are returned to their biological families without significant improvements in care and protection, the reintegration could prove detrimental. However, the Child Welfare Society of Kenya maintains that it is the best decision for all involved.
Since the children were admitted in temporary places of safety, we have counseled them, we have also mentored them, and we also prepared them because when it comes to reintegration, it is a process. We have also prepared their families and they are ready to receive their children.
In the midst of all the smiles and squeals of delight, this duo of father and son look out of place. Their emotions are mixed at best. While Boniface Wanjala is pleased to be reunited with his son, he is sad that he is here to receive one child and not two, as his daughter died in the children's home where she and her brother were living. He too, like all the parents here to receive their children, says he allowed them to be registered in an orphanage because it was the surest way to shield his children from the biting poverty at home and ensure they get an education and 3 square meals a day. Wanjala says to date, his quest for answers to unearth how his child died remains futile.
Kasema afadhali sasa wamenipungusia msiko, nikachukua na msichana huyo alikuwa namba 4 ndiye wakaenda. Sikujua mtoto ataenda apata ajali huko. Wanapika simu wananiambia mtoto amekufa. Kweli nilisikia uchungu mpaka nikaanguka mguu yangu kwa mawe.
The law clearly says that the children who are 3 years should be taken to foster care parents or they should be adopted. And I think the best place to bring up a child is in a family setup.
Mongare says according to data from the Department of Children's Services, there are over 750 registered children's homes and in excess of 50,000 children currently living in children orphanages, a reality that the government is keen to change by ensuring that all children are reunited with their biological families or placed in foster care. The Children's Act 2022 emphasizes the importance of providing alternative care options for children without families, such as foster care placement.
We rely on the 5 R's. A child who has been rescued should be resocialized, rehabilitated, we do retracing of where the child came from, then lastly, we do reintegration. If we don't get entering, we give those children into either foster care, either to a guardian through the law courts.
Cognizant of the fact that poverty and insufficient access to basic services are among the key factors pushing children into home care centers, the 10-year care reform strategy is aimed at providing alternative solutions to childcare, with the Department of Children's Services pledging to accommodate families whose children ran away due to poverty in the Hunger Safety Net program, or the cash transfer program as a way of supporting the children within a family setting.
These two instruments are addressing children that are living in families and they are facing issues of poverty, abuse, and any other source of vulnerability that these children may face. So we came up with ways in which we can ensure that these families can be able to take care of their children in their homes without the children going to institutions.
The concept of deinstitutionalization involves reforming childcare systems and closing orphanages and children's homes while finding suitable and nurturing placements for vulnerable children through non-institutional means. The process is guided by the national guidelines for the transition in childcare systems in Kenya. The strategy seeks to guide the national steps towards family strengthening, robust alternative family care, and tracing, reintegration, and transitioning from institutional care to family. The transition will be done in 3 phases, where phase 1 includes making the decision to transition the minor from children's homes to their biological families or foster care. Phase 2 will include preparation of the transition, which involves preparing the minor and their family or foster home psychologically for the transition, as well as devising a strategy for the transition. The third and final phase is where the government will resolve the issues or risks that were identified before reintegrating the child back in their families or foster care. As the push to phase out children's orphanages in the coming decade gains momentum, children's rights activists unanimously agree that the government should first address the reasons why children end up in an orphanage, regardless of whether they have parents or homes. And the reasons include poverty, HIV, family conflict, and harmful cultural practices. Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.